Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Alma Dunbar Savoy, and I'm the host and creator of Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series, which is all about sharing amazing stories of ordinary people whom God has done some extraordinary things in our lives. Stories to let you know that whatever challenges you might be facing, you can persevere and also leave a legacy for your family and friends. You know, when we're sharing stories of the amazing supernatural power of overcoming and achieving unbelievable achievements through the power of our God, and that we can not only survive, but we can live a life abundantly each and every day. And today is no less, is no different. We have another powerful testimony of what God can do in your life. Today, I'm honored to have as our guest Jimmie, who will introduce himself in just a moment, who will be sharing about an unimaginable tragedy that happened in his life. A powerful testimony of strength and survival and faith in God. Years ago, Jimmie faced an unimaginable tragedy, and he'll be talking about that today, but sharing how he endured and how through the power of God that he was able to persevere, and how it was such an anchor for his faith. And he'll be sharing all that today. And I'm so excited for him to share his story with us. I know that you're going to be blessed, as with all of our stories, and you're going to be encouraged. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And I'm going to ask him to introduce himself and just share a little bit about his background before we get started. So go ahead. Welcome, Jimmie. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself and just share a little bit about your background?
Okay, my name is James Wiggins, Jimmie. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., family of six, a single parent home. Uh, Born in D.C. General Hospital and have been here for 69 years. So,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
so that's it.
All right. So what was your family life like? Uh, uh,
Well, my family, like I said, it was six of us.
okay.
I had three older brothers, a younger sister, and my mother,
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
So it,
Okay.
it, it was pretty somewhat hard going, but because it was a single family, I mean single parent, but
Okay.
we made it. We
Okay.
made it through.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to talk about a day uh that of a tragedy in your life. So can you take us back to that day as much as you are comfortable with and as much as you can remember, and share that with us?
Sure. Um, this particular day, it was a day that my well, it's a day when I had came home from work, and it was I just myself, and then my little sister must have came home after I had. I was upstairs from work and laying across the bed asleep, and I heard her screaming. So I jumped out of bed and headed down the steps with in my sock feet and slipping as I was going down the steps. And as I turned the corner to face to the direction where she was where I heard the voice, there was an image in the doorway pointing a gun, and it fired at me. Uh,
Mm,
the bullet did hit me, and I fell face down at the bottom of the steps, and I basically couldn't move.
mm-hmm.
But I still heard her screaming, and as I heard three more shots, I heard she stopped screaming. Uh, After that, the image did. I heard the footsteps, and they came back. And as he approached me, he raised my head because I was face down, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw who it was. It was her ex. Well, it wasn't her ex. It was supposed to be her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he raised me up, raised my head up, and took one of the kitchen butcher knives and went across my throat twice. after Daddy dropped my head and he went out of the front door. Uh,
So
it- uh,
as much as you can remember, what was going through your mind, or do you remember what you were kind of thinking? Or
well, I honestly, I didn't know what was happening. I just know that she was screaming and I had to get to her. And
mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
was my only objective, to get to her, to find out what was going on.
mm-hmm,
I didn't know of anything going on between them that would have
mm-hmm,
created this situation.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
that was my only objective, to get to her.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. So when you realized what had happened to you, can you remember what you were, experiencing or feeling?
Yeah. I mean, even after, when I realized what had happened to me, I was able to move.
Mm-hmm,
And my first thing was, since I did hear the shots and I knew he had shot me, my first thing was to call the police. So I
mm-hmm,
called
mm-hmm,
911. And
mm-hmm,
as they said they were on the way, I started looking through the house trying to find my sister.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
but I never found her. I never found her. Uh,
Okay.
then the police arrived, and emergency all the emergency people arrived, and they started working on me.
Mm-hmm,
And the police was, as the medics was working on me, police was looking through the house for my
mm-hmm,
sister.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm,
yeah, and what the medics did say about me, said it just looked like he has a couple of scratches on his neck, but he's all right. And
mm-hmm,
I could feel the bullet in my neck, and the bullet had actually went up my nostril, hit the bone in my head, and landed at the back of my neck, at the base of my neck.
mm-hmm,
And I could feel it there, so I wouldn't just let them go with just a couple of scratches. I told them exactly where it was, and
mm-hmm,
they put a collar on me and took me to the hospital.
okay, okay. What were your first thoughts and feelings about God?
You know, honestly, Reservoir, I did not. I don't think was even thought on that basis yet. I was just one. The thing was wondering what happened to my
Mm-hmm,
sister, and
mm-hmm,
those are just my thoughts of what was going on with her. I
mm-hmm,
know what happened to me, and I was aware of what happened to me, but I didn't know what happened to her. So I was
mm-hmm,
just thinking along those lines of what happened to her.
mm-hmm. Was there a specific moment that you can remember that when you actually felt the presence of God, or it just hadn't occurred to you at that time?
Uh, I guess when they finally told me they found her,
Mm-hmm.
and they told me the condition they found her in. She had been shot 4 times and stabbed some 17. Uh, I thing I felt was just pain. I felt
Mm-hmm.
pain. I felt anger,
Mm-hmm.
and so my mama, she always taught us to trust in God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I did not, as many may think, they felt anger and they questioned God. I did not do that. I
Mm-hmm.
did not question him about it. Uh, I just knew that I was still there, and
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and, and I did not doubt him for a minute, but
Right.
my mind wasn't really on, whether
Yes.
I trust him or doubted him.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So do you feel that your faith grew, or um I don't know, in the aftermath, did you find yourself questioning God, or did you find yourself feeling more connected with God, or
I found myself. I guess, understanding
Okay.
more
Okay.
of what God was had done. Even though she was not here,
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
kept me here
Okay.
to make
Okay.
sure the person that took her away got what they deserved. So
Okay. Okay.
I felt his, you know, I did not, of course, I didn't understand it, but
Right.
I felt he kept me here for a reason,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it was my job to find out what that reason was and to follow what he wanted me to do.
Okay.
And
Okay. Okay. All right. What was your recovery process like? What do you remember
oh yes,
physically? What was the process like for you?
physically it was actually I was surprised, but it was quite easy. They
Oh, okay.
they found the bullet. It was lodged against the bottom of my neck, pressing against my spine, which they said was the reason why I couldn't move.
Mhm.
And they told me that if it had shifted either way, I could have been paralyzed for life or
Oh, okay.
dead.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but the process was a week long. They were able to go through my mouth and take the bullet out, so there was no external scars.
Okay.
Uh, and in a week's time, I was out of the hospital.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, you know,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that was that was
Mhm.
actually it was a pretty quick for me. I thought it was a pretty quick recovery.
Okay. Okay. When you go through emotional trauma like that, um, sometimes emotionally, that can really have an effect on you. Do you? What were some of your challenges emotionally? What were you thinking? You think emotionally about what you were going through?
Well, I did think, why was I still here?
Okay. Okay.
That was one of the thoughts, and well, of course, why not me instead of her?
Right.
Uh, 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 I guess the most strong emotional points was that uh, when the law got involved in it,
Mhm.
they placed more value upon what he did to me than what he did to her,
Mhm.
and she was gone.
Mhm.
So they were giving more time for what he did to me than what he did to her, and
Mhm.
I just didn't think that was the right
Mhm.
thing. But
Mhm.
other than that, and again, I say I never at any time you know argued or doubted uh, or even tried to blame God for what had
Mhm.
happened.
Mhm.
My thoughts was, you, if anything, I was trying to figure out what I've done to make this happen.
Okay. 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 Were there excuse me, were there people or that really are support systems that were instrumental in your healing process and kind of with you during that process?
Yeah, I guess family members
Mhm.
and we wasn't married then, but my wife was there. She came and visited me in the hospital, and people that came and visited me in the hospital,
Mhm.
they just came in sort of upbeat. It wasn't
Mhm.
down.
Okay.
They came in upbeat, and they kept me going upbeat, and and
Mhm. Mhm.
but I think that's the main thing that helped me through it is not
Mhm.
being sad or it
Mhm.
been brought
Mhm.
down.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
yeah, that's basically what helped me a lot.
Mhm. Mhm. Were there specific verses or prayers or any kind of spiritual practices or anything that helped you during this time?
Well, as always, I knew my mother she was always praying. But
Mhm.
I think was it James 1, James first chapter,
Okay.
starting around the second verse,
Okay.
uh, uh, going down to about the fifth verse, and the fifth verse was the one that really stuck with me. It says
Mhm.
if you desire wisdom, if
Okay.
you think you lack wisdom,
Yes,
ask,
yes.
ask
Mhm.
God.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's what I needed. Then I needed to know, and
Right.
and that was telling me to ask God,
Right.
and that's
Mhm.
just stuck with me. You know.
Mhm. Mhm. So as you look at it now, how uh how has that experience changed your perspective on life?
It has changed me to realize, and like I said, we didn't come up in a very, we wasn't very prosperous. We did go through some challenges, and we
Mhm.
always had learned to deal with it. But it even gave me more strength than that. That
Mhm.
even in this,
Mhm.
there is
Mhm.
something to be grateful for.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
you know, and I hope it don't sound, but I was grateful that I was there to tell it. I wasn't
Okay.
grateful that she was gone, but I was grateful that I was there to tell it. Uh,
Right. Okay.
and I just started. I started looking at, I think I looked at life, started looking at life differently. It's not always about what you get,
Okay.
but it's
Okay.
it may be how you get to where you are that you have
Okay.
to look at. It's just what you gain from what you're going through that
Right. Right.
helps you go even further.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, what advice or what message do you have to share with others who are, facing traumas or battles in their life? What advice would you give them?
Well, my advice would be that, even though it looks like the end, it
Mm-hmm.
looks like you can't stand up against it. There
Mm-hmm.
is something there
All right. Yes.
that you can
Mm-hmm.
hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Mm-hmm.
just have to be open. You have to open yourself enough to look
Mm-hmm.
for what's there, and
Mm-hmm.
not just look at the situation that you're in.
Okay.
Because we
Okay.
often just look at what we're in and not
Right.
the way out of what we're in. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. When you think about it now, are there ways that you would say that you honor your sister's memory today?
uh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because even today, every time, because she was born on Halloween,
Okay.
and every
Okay.
Halloween is I just get a different emotion when
Okay.
Halloween comes around. And sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad,
Okay.
because
Okay.
but I think her. I don't know if I would say I'm her memory, but I know
Uh-huh.
her memory is still live in me,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and
Mhm.
and I know the
Mhm.
type of person she was,
Yeah.
and because I know that, I it doesn't make me sad. It makes me happy to know the type of
Mhm.
person that she was.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So if you had to summarize God's grace and what God's grace means to you now, how would you describe that?
I would say God's grace, it passes my understanding.
Okay. Okay.
I I don't I don't need to understand exactly what He's doing, or
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
he's, or more or less how he's doing it. I
Mhm.
just need to recognize what he's doing,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and we are inquisitive people, so we're always going to have questions.
Right.
But to know that even with my questions, his what he's doing is going to be much better than anything I could come up with myself.
Right.
And
Exactly.
he's taught me to trust in that fact that he's going to give you the best that he has,
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
though we don't always return the favor.
Right.
He
Right.
gives us
Yeah.
the best that he has, and his best is better than anything you can actually think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So and that
Yeah.
helps me. That's what helps me make it through all of my challenges. We, as I
Okay.
said, we come up and one of the things that we did just be happy is just crack jokes,
Oh
because
yeah.
sometimes
Okay.
laughing in the midst of in the midst of issues, it
Right.
helps get through them. So
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely can see that those are persons that know you. You're always the one with something funny to say, basically. But let me just ask you, if you had to summarize, well, no, uh, do you feel that God has given you a purpose through this experience?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And in my and for what the purpose that I feel, and you have rarely heard me say God spoke to me,
Uh huh.
because I think I may have even said it out maybe twice in my life. But he's when I started sharing this in the prayer call, he had
Mm
spoke to me,
hmm. Mm hmm.
and what he said is somebody can be helped from what you've been through,
Yes, yes. Mhm.
and that's what I was trying to do. And the only two things I found is that somebody can be helped from what I've been through, and
Mhm.
my praise to him must remain strong.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
regardless of what I'm going through, he's still the same, and I have to praise him for who he is.
Mhm.
So,
And it's so interesting that you say that, because that is the purpose of these stories, of just sharing, you know, other stories, sharing your story, that it might help someone else, and how God just kind of worked that together. Uh, it's just a true testament of what abundant living all about, is sharing your story, the pain
mhm,
and everything that you've gone through, so that it can bless someone else and encourage someone else. And so that's why I'm so grateful to you for sharing it, because someone else can be encouraged. That's why I said, when we face challenges and traumas in life, and we live in a time now where there's so much violence and people experience so much
right,
trauma, but to see what God can do through what God, the power of God can do when you just trust Him and look to Him and depend on Him.
right,
Now,
right.
yeah, now you might not mention it, but I'm gonna mention it. You are a great vocalist. I think you are one of the probably the most amazing tenors that I've heard. How do you feel that God uses one of the gifts that He's given to you to encourage others and to serve Him?
I always, I don't have that gift of gab, as you may say,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
whenever I do sing, I sing to him.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Mm-hmm.
people may be around, but I'm that's my way of communicating. That's one of my ways of communicating with God and letting
Okay.
him know exactly how I feel. So, you know,
Okay. Okay.
if you don't feel it, it wasn't directed to you. It was directed to him. So, and I
That's
think that's
such a blessing. That's such a blessing,
yeah,
and such clarity. Now that I can understand why your singing is so spiritually and uplifting to persons, because like you said, you're singing to him to be able to share. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
wonderful. That's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
hopefully it does help somebody get on board. As I'm
yeah.
doing it, because to me, that's what we're here for, to
Mhm. Mhm.
lead and guide the way to him, and not
Mhm.
just be here by ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. And that encouragement, to encourage, because someone that's, down, and they're listening to that, and that encourages their spirit and uplifts
Hmm.
their hope. So that is so good. And that's exactly what I believe God would have us to do in terms of sharing our story. So as we kind of try to wrap this up, and I can see why we had some difficulty trying to get the story together. We've been kind of working technically trying to get it together, but I can see from what came forth why that was so difficult, and I'm glad that we were able to get it done. So as we kind of wrap things up, what is the most important thing that people should know about you?
About me, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there's anything important you need to know about me. Uh, the only, if I would say is in something that's important to know about is that even in your deepest hurt, there is still a blessing available, and it's there. We just got to look beyond the pain and beyond the situation and find what God is doing. And
Mm-hmm.
if we do that, He definitely will bring you out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but it's nothing that nobody needs to know about me.
Okay, then. So, what would you like for your legacy to be?
uh, I I guess it falls into the line of the song. If I can help somebody,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
then I'll be all right.
Okay.
If I
Very
can help
good.
just one person, I'll be all right.
Okay. Okay. Well, very good. Well, there you have it, everyone. And I am sure that your story will help someone, will help many as we publish and as we share this story on Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series, everyone. It has been a blessing, and I'm sure that will help someone else. Well, there you have it, everyone. The amazing, powerful story of James Wiggins Sr. as he shared his story on Abundant Living Every Day. Thank you so much, Jimmie, for sharing your story on Abundant
No
Living
problem.
Everyday Legacy Series, where we're sharing stories of ordinary people, ordinary men and women whom God has done some extraordinary things in our lives. And we're sharing our stories, living out our legacies, sharing our stories with you, you, and you. As the curtain falls on today's story and until the next story, there's a story waiting in each and every one of us, just waiting to be shared. And I want to encourage you to share your story on Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series. You can find us on our YouTube channel, as well as Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series at gmail.com. And we're looking out for yours to be able to share your story. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jimmie. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you.